Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Devin, and today's video I'm going to show you how to plant a succulent in a Buddha candle holder. So this project has been really fun for me, and I'm gonna share with you some how-to tips, care guides, all that fun stuff about how to put a succulent in a candle holder. So I don't know if you want to join me if you have a project going on right now. I definitely encourage you to, or to reference back to this video. So I'll share a little bit of stories about how I found these Buddhas and began to put succulents in them. It brought me so much joy, and they turned out so beautifully, and they were great as Christmas gifts and things like that. And when I found these little Buddhas, they're not meant to be planters, they're just candle holders. So if you're at home and you find like a fun little object that you can stick a succulent in, hopefully this care guide and show you how to do it can really help you in your experimentation with succulents. So I'm going to share a bit of the process with you, and I'll show you what I've already done, and then we're going to play around today. You can hang out with me, and I'm going to play around and redo these succulents, and I'm going to share with you different ways to do it, like how to use moss, how to use dirt, how to position it, also how to care for it, so the best way to water it, and things like that. So before I get started, if you find this helpful and you're enjoying these, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. And also make sure to check out the description, because there you can find me on Instagram, anything that's upcoming, playlists, all the good stuff is in the description. So make sure to check that out. And I hope you have fun with me today as I share my joy and my love with these absolutely incredible little plants. So yeah, I'm really excited to get started. So first I'm going to show you the ones that I've put together. A couple of them I put together a while ago, and they're ready to go. So they need to transition. And I felt like it's a perfect time to rearrange it and actually show the process. And it's actually really easy. So what I love about succulents is that they're really easy plants to take care of. And you got to remember that, succulents are drought tolerant plants. So that means is that they have adapted and are resilient through drought and things like that. So the best way to kill a succulent is to overdo it, overwater it, that kind of thing. So it makes it really easy. And what I love about succulents is that they don't need much. They don't need a lot of dirt. They don't need a lot of water. And also you can get really creative at home and find all sorts of little places to put your succulents. So when I really got into the beginning of my obsession with succulents, everywhere I went, every store I was in, every little tiny cool object I could find, I was thinking about how I could put a succulent in it. So whether I go to thrift shops, all sorts of things, and I love it because you can actually put these little plants in candle holders. Now, typically care for succulents is that it's great to have a drainage hole for them, and the reason for that is because you don't want to drown them and you want to be able to drain it. So I'm going to share about the watering practice for these in specific because they don't have drainage, but it's okay. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you the ones I have now. So this was one of the first ones that I had ever made. This is what really sparked a huge creative spark for me in my process, also launching my Instagram page, Sacred Succulents. And this was my logo for a while, and it's grown out like a ton since I made it. So actually in this video I might even clip it or cut it out and show you what you can do with the babies that grow out of it. So this was one of the first ones that I put together. And then over time, I fell in love with these little Lola. I think they're Lola Echeveras. And I've made multiple ones of these. So I have another one in a different location, but this one is probably one of my favorites. And we're gonna play with moss and stuff today. So, and exciting news is that I have 2 more Lolas. So I think I'm gonna use those. So I have one in this little planter that I'm gonna redo. And then I got this guy here. And then this one, so this one went through the ringer. It got knocked over. It was absolutely gorgeous. You can check out the pictures on my Instagram page. But I had these very delicate seashells that I collect on the beach. I'm staying in Cape May Point, New Jersey right now. And we had this guy sticking up here and a lot of really cool seashells. but it's falling apart. So I'm going to update this guy in this video. So this one is unique in the sense where I experimented with not using any dirt and just using moss. And I'm going to show you what kind of moss that succulents can grow in. And he's not doing that great right now. So I'm going to move it around and switch it up. And then this guy is not actually planted. So usually when I do arrangements, I always eye things first. So I'll let it kind of sit and put things together, and then once I know kind of where I want to go with it, I'll go a little bit deeper. But I was thinking about how beautiful this guy would be in here. So I'm going to be using like an assortment of different moss for this video, but I want to let you know that there's actually a certain type of moss that succulents can grow in and they can create roots in. This guy's a great example because if I pull him out, he created his root system just with the moss. And you can actually, it's why this is great for cutting. So if you cut something and it doesn't have roots yet, you can still plant it here and it will begin to grow roots in the moss. And this is the type of moss that you use for succulents. Shagnum moss. You can get this at Lowe's or Home Depot. And we might be using a little bit of that today. To be honest, I don't love this moss for arrangements, but it really comes in practically used when I'm putting things together or I don't want to use a lot of dirt. And it's also great for drainage and also watering. So while I have this set up, I have a couple of tools that are helpful. I have this little toolkit off Amazon. My mom got it as a gift. It's really, really helpful. It comes with all sorts of little tools and a whole like mat that you can use that you can get off Amazon. So I have some tools here in case I need them. You can just use your fingers or silverware, things like that. It's pretty simple. And I have some extra dirt here to use. And then I also have other little succulents that I've had that I might use for the arrangements. I got this one too. So we're gonna get creative here, and thank you for joining me. And I would love to hear how it's going for you in the comments. So I think I might start with this guy because it's pretty straightforward, and then we'll go from there. So which one do I want to move first? Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take out this guy and put him in another pot here, and I'm going to remove the moss. And I'll show you some tricks with how to get the moss sitting in here. But basically, when I have had to shove moss in these little candle holders, I wet them. So like a big trick with moss is if you're having a hard time putting an arrangement, just spray it with like a water bottle or something like that. It'll be a lot easier to maneuver. Okay, over here. All right, I think I'm gonna start with this guy. So what we're working with here is a tiny little space. And you can put succulents in anything, basically. And so it's a tiny little space, but what's great is that as long as you position it in there where it's snug enough, you can actually use the Buddha as like a leverage, that kind of thing, and we'll play around with different moss. So I'm gonna do this guy here, and he's already rooted and stuff. He has this little thing of dirt, so I'm just gonna like loosen up the dirt so that it's not so high. Okay. And I'm already making a mess. Sometimes I wonder like, why do I clean this space up if I just keep making messes? Okay, so he has a bit of a stem. It's a bit of a stem, so I'm gonna see how high it is. Okay, alrighty, that's kind of perfect. So if you're working with a cutting in moss, basically with this, you just want to make sure that it can sit properly in and not like fall out. So with this, you can position it like this. This root is like sitting right here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I could fill it in with moss, but I'm gonna just put a little bit of dirt on the bottom here. Because as this really settles in and roots in, the root system is going to continue to go through the environment. So I want to give it a little bit of extra place too. get my handy dandy scooper. Okay, I got this cute little guy. You can use a spoon too. I'm just gonna use what was already on there. I love recycling dirt because, and with the, just make sure that you get cactus soil. And the reason for that is that it has quick drainage. So you want, and you can see that it can live off just this tiny little amount. So I'm gonna kind of snug that in right there. And I'm gonna use moss under it. So I'm just gonna take a few pieces and I'm gonna line the moss that it can create roots in around the edge. I hope you can see this. Just to also give it a little bit of leverage. Yeah, on this tip here so it can sit, and it also makes it look really pretty. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a spray bottle here and I'm just gonna spray it a little bit so that it stays. Okay. All right, cool. So right now, it's pretty simple. We just have a little bit of dirt and we have that sitting really comfortably like this. And then what I'm gonna do is use moss around the back so that it can really stay snug and not like fall out. So for example, with this guy here, you know, it's good, snug. Now the moss, the decorative moss, doesn't need to be ones that need to be in create roots with, because we already have enough for the root of this guy. So we're gonna use more decorative moss for the back. Alrighty, what kind of moss do you want? I think I want to do this kind of soil cover. So this is just reindeer moss. And what I like about the reindeer moss is that it's like spongy. It will dry out so you can like dampen it to loosen it, but it is like spongy. So it gives like, it helps with it being snug. It's kind of like reminds me of a little bit of seaweed. And I'm gonna pull off like a chunk at the top. Experiment with this because I want it to be fluffy enough so that I can sit really comfortably in it. So, well, that might be kind of perfect. All right. See how it's like spongy here? Oh, I like that. So right now, this is where we're at. We got it in the back. And when you wet it, like once you water it and you let it sit and root for a bit, it's just gonna get even better. So what I like to do with the moss is you wanna make sure you like shove it in there so it gets, it's really like, you wanna make sure it's like secure. So push it in with your finger. I'm gonna push it in on the other side as well. Okay. Okay. Now this is like super simple and classic, and I'm gonna leave it like this because I want to show like other creative examples with some of the other ones. But like look, and it's snug. See? Snug. Okay, so this is where we're at with that. Look how classically beautiful this Buddha holder is. It's amazing. Okay, so let's water it. So what I recommend with this is you want to have controlled watering. Do not drench it. Don't like pour a bunch of stuff on the succulent. My favorite with these guys is a spray bottle. So what I do is you want to make sure you try to spray it like into the dirt, into the roots. So I'm going to spray it in there. A lot of times I'll just go right into the moss and spray like right here. Now this hasn't been watered for a minute, and you can mist it too. Now, I'd say you can go a week or two. These things are going to be fine without it. But I would say, I'm going to push this down a little bit more. You can up to like, I don't know, probably every 3 to 5 days or so. But just play with it. If it looks like it's, if the leaves start to get like really moist, chill out. If it looks extra dry, give it a little mist. And succulents love bright light, so put it in a place that has a lot of light. So look at this, and it only took what, 5-10 minutes or something like that to put this together. Amazing, amazing. So this is like a really good size for this little planter, and you can put it in any kind of candle holder. I'm gonna put this guy right here. Okay. So let's do something else. Let's do one with just moss and see how that goes, okay? So this one is a good example because it's flat. So this is gonna like actually sit more like a candle. And it already has, it was a cutting, but it already created a root system. So we have some dirt here. I'm just gonna empty it all out, and I'm just gonna do one just with moss. Okay. So I'm telling you, I don't love the Shangri moss or whatever. I'm not like a crazy fan of it, but it does its job. And what we can do is just make sure that it has a root system in here with it, and then put prettier moss around it. So for some reason, this brand is like not, if it was longer pieces, probably be amazing, but it can look really, really beautiful. But I'm gonna try to take bigger chunks here like this so that it can actually sit up. And then in this process, I'm also gonna wet it just so I have a little bit more wiggle room. So when you wet this moss, you can let it sit like this. And what's great about this moss is it dries really quickly, and that's why you can water it more, because it will like evaporate quickly, so you don't have to worry about like really drenching the, so I'm gonna put this like here, because that's gonna look pretty. So I guess the goal here is to just make sure that they're secure, and then you can make it look beautiful. But also if you're not moving them around too much, you just want to put it on a windowsill, you could just literally drop this guy here and it would adapt. That's why succulents are absolutely incredible. Okay, and I might just literally do that. Okay, and I want it to kind of come up a little bit, so I'm gonna do like this in the background. Do these bigger chunks in the background. Like that. And then I'm gonna put the roots right here and let it sit. Oh wow, that's really pretty. Okay. And look how simple that was. What took a minute or something like that. And I'm not gonna make it too crazy with the moss. I could put more in there, but I'm gonna let it like root in. Now I watered it a little bit, but I'm gonna water just a little bit more on the sides because I want the roots to actually make sure I hit the roots. Okay. So this is the second one. How quick was that? And just, we're gonna keep it really simple with the moss, and this guy will live. He'll be cool, okay? So that's the second one. Also, I have a really amazing story about succulents that survived a month in the dark, and this was one of them, and that's why I want to put it in a Buddha, because it really reminds me of like a really powerful time in my life, and I'm going to make another video and share that story and do some special stuff with those plants, so make sure to check it out in the description. Okay. So what should we do next? So we got this guy, we got one more here. I think I might change this one, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna take this guy out and get rid of some of this extra. Now, what's great about changing arrangements is that every time I clean up or move something around, I take off some of the old leaves, and these can be saved for propagation. So I usually have the little tray right here, and I have a whole video on like how to propagate succulents. So make sure you check that out in the description, and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna just pull off some of these leaves while I'm at it. This is kind of like a little ritual that I have. You wanna make sure you take the mature ones off so that I can keep growing my babies. Okay, so that's good. So she looks way healthier now, and it can be put into another arrangement. I'm gonna save that and put it somewhere else. Now with this guy, there's a bunch of little seashells. So I think what I'm gonna do is save the seashells, just gonna dump it out here, and use that for the new arrangement. Okay, which one should we do, guys? Okay, which one should we do? I just got a really amazing idea. Okay, so that's why I love this process. Thanks for staying with me, guys. Okay, so I brought out my tray of Propagation. This is not a Propagation video. Go check out the other one, or maybe I'll make more. But some of them are big enough now as little babies. So what I think I'm gonna do, which would be amazing, is to use a couple of the babies and put them in here with the seashells. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, so let's pick some out. So we got this guy, we got this guy, so adorable. And we got, this guy just came off too. I just pulled these leaves off. Look how beautiful that baby is. That's why I'm obsessed with succulents. This came off a leaf. Okay, and then I might need to use some glue for this one, so we'll see. Huh. Any other ones do we want to use? Maybe could use this guy. He's little. There's other ones in my, I have 2 other trays, but I think I'm just gonna keep it simple for now. Do that. Try it out, guys. This is so exciting. Okay, I think I'm gonna need some glue for this, and just keep in mind you're not gonna hurt the succulents if you use glue. They adapt around it and they still grow. They're fine. They're all good. So how are we gonna do this? I have a couple seashells. Let's eye it first, if you can see this properly. So these guys are gonna get big, and that's what's cool. So even though they're tiny now, we can give them a space to grow in this. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. First, I'm gonna put a little bit of dirt on the bottom layer, and then I'm gonna use some of the moss on top of it, and let them sit in nicely. And then I'm gonna use some of these seashells. Okay. Now with these tiny little arrangements, I try to stay away from like these things, just so it has a little bit more room. And I'm gonna fill it up like probably all the way to the top of the ledge, just because I want it to kind of pop a little bit more. Okay, cool. That's pretty sweet. And then, so we're gonna let it double root, meaning using moss and dirt, it's gonna be able to work around all of it. Okay, making a mess. So perfect to just put right here. Like I said, I can wet it a little bit to get some wiggle room with it. You can see that. Now what are we gonna do with the shells? What are we gonna do? Maybe I'll put it as like a centerpiece. That would be kind of cool. It's a great idea. Cool thing about it is that you can just redo it if you don't like it. Just gonna take this moss right here. Here's another good big piece. Yes, great. All right, wetting it is like key, doing these little kind of delicate ones, because, and then what I'm gonna do is kind of, okay, so we're gonna put a shell right in the middle, this. Okay, I don't know, it might look like crap, but we're just gonna play around with it. Yes, it's beautiful. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do, so this is where we're at. There's a little dirt on the bottom, got that weird moss, and then I'm gonna stick the little roots kind of in between this. So for example, we got this root, I'm just gonna stick it right in and just set it right here. Oh my God. Okay. So this is the first one. I just stuck the root right into the moss. I'm gonna do this on the other side. I'm gonna stick it right into the other side. It's like through the moss down to the dirt, so that way the roots will be able to root into both sides. Oh my God. Well, I'm so happy to use these because it's been such joy. Okay, so then this is where we're at with that. And then I'm gonna put this little guy, this one, right in the front. And because they're like delicate babies, I'm just gonna kind of like let them sit. I'm not, you can glue if you don't want it to fall apart and stuff. That's where we're at. I probably have another shell. I collected a bunch of shells. That would be cute. But I'm just gonna leave that there for now and see. And then I'm gonna put some of these little pebbles and stuff. They're probably gonna fall off when I move, but I'm just gonna do this right now and then secure it better or glue it once it's more rooted in. Just gonna put some of these little drops in here. Okay, all right. Now this shell doesn't look like the best ever here, but I know I could actually get some more babies and put more in, but I think I'm gonna leave that for now. And I'm not gonna go crazy. So I'm just gonna show you this now. I might update it later. Make sure to check out my Instagram because I'll put up like cool pictures of these. And if I update this one, I'll share with you. So this is where we're at. Got these little babies in their new Buddha home. This is where we're at. Okay, so we got multiple different types of Buddhas here, and as a bonus, let me know which one you like the most, okay? I'll show them to you again. Got this, got these, okay? And as a bonus, I'm gonna clean up this guy and show you how we can do new projects with the babies. So coolest thing about succulents is when they pop all these little pups here, you can cut them off, let them dry out for a few days, and then you can replant them and they'll grow into bigger ones. So I'm just gonna take it right off. Now see how that rooted in for a while, right? Now that just became, you know, this little arrangement, but it's time to move Missy. She's gotten big. Now all of these, I did the water stuff, all that good things. Now, so the cleaning here, I'm gonna pull off all these little dead leaves down here. I have this guy. I usually do it with my fingers, but this is here, so why not? It's actually pretty easy because this is a tiny one. The bigger ones, these things aren't strong enough. So I'm just gonna clean this guy off and then I'm gonna cut this off and show you. And we're gonna make another arrangement. Maybe not in this video, but this is just part of the process. Thanks for staying with me, guys. Oops. Now, great example. Leaf just came off naturally, saving that for propagation. Yas. All right, so that guy's clean. She's clean, and look at all these babies. Okay, So these are my handy dandy clippers from that little pack I got. Highly recommend it. I always just use scissors before. That's fine. Totally will suffice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these babies off, and I'm going to do it towards the bottom so that I have some planting room. So I'm going to go like this, and it will fall, but it will be okay. Okay, we're going to clip this. Clip this. This. Yeah, they're definitely ready to go. Okay, so this is what we're left with. Okay, I'm gonna save that for another arrangement. And then these are the little babies we got that can grow into bigger ones like that, and actually was bigger. And a lot of times succulents will get smaller as they give birth. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the little plants we're working with that will get a lot bigger and how to care for those. So this is what we're working with. Now we have 5 more little babies, okay? And I'm gonna let them dry out for a few days so that the wound can heal over. And then I'll plant them in dirt, probably delicately in like a tiny little thing. And I'm not gonna water them right away. I'm gonna wait until they have some time to create little roots, little stems coming off of them so that they don't drown. Save these over here, and then we'll have another arrangement. So, we have 1 Buddha left, and if you've stayed this long, make sure to leave a comment and say what you've loved most about this video. And let's see, we have 1 left. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? So I was thinking about maybe like this guy or something like that. Huh. Okay, we do have one Lola left. Should we do one more Lola? I just love the Lolas. And I have another one that I brought to my dad's house because, yeah. You know what, I'm gonna do another Lola. I'm gonna do another Lola, and I'm gonna do it a little bit differently, okay? So we got this guy here. Oh my god, the babies. I think I want to do more babies, actually. I just want to do babies. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video in a minute. Stay with me, though. And I'm going to go to my propagation trays, and I'm going to find some babies that have grown over the last 1 to 3, 4 months here while staying at the beach over the winter, and I'm going to put them in a Buddha or find a way. I don't know. I'm going to get creative, and I'll be back for more potentially, so make sure you check out the link in the description stuff. So if I do more Buddhas, all the information will be in there. So I wanted to thank you for hanging out with me today as we planted some succulents in yeah, these little Buddha candle holders. I love them so much. I want to know what your favorite one is, and I'm going to show you the ones that we did. So this one was the one that started out as inspiration. Then we did another one, a little bit more simple and classic, with the same Lola. Then we have this guy that's just in the moss. So we're going to see how that goes. Then we have this special little concoction with my little babies. Okay. So I want to know, I would love to hear from you, which one's your favorite, and let me know how it goes if you start your journey experimenting with succulents. So I'm sending you guys so much love. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more about my love for succulents with you guys. Have a great day. Bye for now.